So from the aggressive kind of death metal, I started getting into the more weird stuff. Maybe where you came from a
Not
little
so
bit
weird.
before, but then I did start getting into the gothic stuff. It started to make more sense to me. Soundscapes, having played keyboards in a black metal band, I think I started to understand how different sounds can convey different emotions, and I started becoming a fan of the dramatic.
Yeah.
So it was a very dramatic sound. So from going from very aggressive sounds to very big orchestral dramatic sounds was where I came from, which brings me back to the stuff I suppose my dad listened to now. You're getting back into the classical stuff,
Yeah.
which now makes a lot more sense to me.
You probably have King to thank for that.
So you probably do have King to thank for that. So then we went from I got into Neff, and then one of my greatest inspirations, even to this day, is Sopor Aeternus. Absolutely brilliant. I really enjoy kind of like circus music and things that are that weird. So it was Tom Waits, cabaret kind of stuff. So and Sopor, she's still a massive inspiration to me, and also just having that, I started to understand that having kind of happy sound but having a very depressing like voice just like kind of cancels things out.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I really, even going back to this, the 60s stuff where you had pop music but then the lyrical content was not necessarily very happy, and then that kind of stuff started making a lot of sense.
That dark and light, that juxtaposition.
Yeah. So that kind of thing started making a lot of sense to me. A lot of big drum sounds and very dramatic. I really enjoyed it. And then of course we got Mortiis. Absolutely loved the stuff. Maybe not so much as kind of industrial kind of side of it, but his Dungeons and his Bond, absolutely brilliant. Really enjoy this. So that's kind of stuff that started to make a lot of sense to me. And then of course recently it's been Nibiru.
Drone.
But not drone as in a drone.
No.
It is a dramatic drone.
It's atmospheric.
Very atmospheric. Yeah. And even watching these bands, perform, it isn't a performance. It is a show. It is a feel that they portray off stage, and you can feel it, and that has become very important to me now. As a drummer, obviously, I love my floor toms, I love my bass drums, and I've playing with percussion thanks to Sopor as well.
Yeah.
Lots of different percussion sounds that have come through on that. And then of course going back to what you had before, that prog. Now I never got into prog at all. Didn't understand it.
Don't worry, sometimes I don't either. I think actually that's the secret of prog. Prog fans don't understand prog.
No, but I did not understand it. But now, probably playing instruments and being able to write within a band and having to adapt to certain sounds to try and portray some sort of feeling, story, emotion, that has definitely become very prevalent in what I do and how I listen to music now, and the kind of music I like. I mean, as much as I love my death metal, it's not something that I necessarily go back to and listen to. I love going to death metal concerts and absolutely headbanging my butt off. However, it's not necessarily something that I always can kind of like immerse myself in if I'm sitting at home. So to sitting and listening to music now is a completely different experience. And also, I think when we got into metal, there were only so many bands.
Yeah.
There were so many things. Now, obviously, there are hundreds upon thousands of bands that are doing similar things, and I try and find. I like listening to stuff that's different. I'm trying to look for something that is a little bit more different. And yeah, it's just been a massive journey for me. And to be honest, I don't think that they will ever stop discovering new things that come through. So it's been a great, and it has been a great journey to where we are now, and to the stuff that we write. It is about feel, and it is about telling a story with different sounds, and I think that's very important.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite funny that you say you went back, like went in the full circle. I mean, because I kind of did the same thing. I mean, I got very into neo-folk and don't have much of it on vinyl.
Yeah.
I mean, but you listen to it as too, but
yeah,
amazing stuff that's come out, like Me and That Man.
I know.
And it's funny because here we have a black metal legend going back to his roots and writing some really raw, primitive blues folk rock.
Yeah.
I mean, King Dude as well. Absolutely love him. It's just old Americana, but it's so evil. It's brilliant. But it's back to where I started. And that's why I got very into this. So yeah, it is. It's definitely a journey. And like anything, like good music, it cycles.
It does
always
cycle.
falls into itself again.
Yeah, and there's some really good stuff out there.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm glad that I've managed to kind of, I've been lucky enough to be able to embrace that, and I've had a lot of people introduce me to stuff.
Yeah.
You know, you've introduced me to
I don't introduce to anything. I just throw stuff at you and see what sticks.
But you know, and some of it I like, and some of it I don't, and I've started getting a. You know, you start to understand why you like something as opposed to why you don't like it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's stuff that I think would be great, except I don't like this bit or I don't like that bit. I know why I don't like it.
But you also understand what makes it work.
And I also understand, you know, what makes things work. And I just think it really is. It is like somebody just giving you a palette full of colors, and I think it's given me the freedom to play what I want to play without putting myself in a box, so to speak. I know death metal, it was very, you know, the metalheads then were very, very, you know, it was death metal nothing. And now being able to come out of that into all this other stuff is just, I'm very, very glad that I have had the opportunity to do it, and that I have been introduced to so many different types of music, you know, and even going back to the older stuff. I mean, really, you should really go back and listen to some of this old stuff, because I'll probably hear stuff in there that I just didn't, you know, probably appreciate it a lot more. So.
If you can bear some of the vibe.
If I can bear some of it. I mean, some of it.
But to be fair as well, I mean, like if you take some of my old vinyls, I think I've worn them out. It's probably more noise and music now, or static noise and music.
Warps. I remember the Beatles and it warped, and I was like, actually, it sounds so much better when it does this warpy thing. It's great.
I think that's also part of the beauty of vinyl as a medium. It's such a tactile, interactive thing. Compact discs are great. It sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
It's still a tactile thing. Digital, in a way, though, it loses this whole interaction with it.
I think for me, it's artwork. I mean, come on, something like so big, you know, and you can. And like, you know, with this, you can open things up.
Sopor's packaging is fantastic.
You can open things up, and you can sit there and you can hold it, and you can look at the pictures while you're listening to it. To me, it's a completely different experience.
I think in a way as well, it actually makes you listen to it, because it's an effort. You've got to take it out, you've got to clean it, you've got to put it on, you've got to put the needle to it. It's a commitment.
It is a commitment. It's
not like, I feel like listening to this song.
Skip.
It's a commitment. I'm going to experience this.
Exactly. So yeah. So now we just a lot of the stuff that we, even the stuff that I don't have on vinyl that I have listened to. I mean, I'm starting to get it on vinyl now, because obviously we didn't have all this stuff. So yeah. And it's great that it's made such a comeback.
It is. Absolutely love the format.
Yeah. So there we go.
Yeah. Welcome to our vinyl.